Let's talk about the health implications of not following your intuition. This is a big topic for those of us who are health coaches because it can be a really big part of what we help our clients with and something that is very unique to us as coaches as far as how we serve our clients and help them really make huge changes in their health, because a lot of times they aren't working with anyone else, any other sort of practitioner or doctor who is putting the pieces together between the rest of their life and what their life looks like and what they're doing and the choices they're making and the implications that it is having on their health. So one area where we can really shine and help our clients is in this area of looking at their life and seeing where things may be out of alignment, meaning they aren't following their intuition. They're probably going against their intuition and probably have been for quite a while, if they have certain health implications that are coming up. Of course, this may not always be the case, but often it is. Often there's things going on in our life that are leading to health things. Of course, there can be a lot of other things going along with diet and, detox and maybe needing supplements and all that stuff. But life and looking at life as a holistic picture is a huge part of what we can do and how we can really serve our clients on a high level. So often this is looking at like the big areas where this may pop up and where I often see that it really has an impact on people's health is relationships, especially someone's relationship with their significant other, and career or someone's job or purpose, kind of where they're fulfilling that. A lot of times when there are misalignments in these areas, people will eventually see it playing out in their health or having health problems. Okay. So health can often be a symbol of imbalance. And oftentimes it will start more minor, kind of like as a flashing light, kind of as maybe a whisper or a small feeling where we know something is not right or not aligned for us. And then later it becomes a yelling, a screaming, like a huge health issue. A lot of like autoimmune issues sometimes come for this, where it's like we've really been ignoring something in our life and our body is telling us like, hey, this is not right. Something is going on. We need to look at this. And like I said, it's always looking at a holistic picture. So there can be a lot of more like health related things to look at as far as someone's diet and, kind of sleep and all those things that we look at health wise. But also, like I said, this is where we can really shine as coaches, is really looking at someone's holistic picture of their life and where may there be imbalances in other areas of their life that are impacting their health. Okay. The truly holistic picture. Okay. So I want to give you, I've had some experiences with this personally, where I was doing things in my life that were not aligned, and I started seeing big health implications from this. So I want to give you a few examples. Sometimes it helps to just kind of illustrate how this can work. The first one, and one that was very major, was being in a relationship a number of years ago that was not aligned. I knew it was not aligned from the beginning. There were red flags. I ignored this. I had moved somewhere new. I didn't really know anyone and kind of fell into this relationship. And it was a bad relationship for me. I would say I was with someone who was narcissistic. It was, I would say, like emotionally and verbally abusive for me. And while I was in this relationship, I had gotten a diagnosis of having an abnormal pap smear where I actually had cancerous cells, which was a big deal because the doctor kept telling me, like, you need to come in and get this taken care of. They wanted to do a procedure. I ended up deciding not to do it after doing a lot of research, not giving any sort of health advice in this video. Of course, this is something where I think we can also help our clients, or where we need to really be aware ourselves as to doing the research ourselves and not just doing what the doctor tells us to do. That I think is really, really important. So I did my research. I decided not to go forward with the procedure, got out of this relationship, which at first started more like a whisper of like, this is wrong, something, it's feeling off. And then literally became like me yelling at myself, like, you need to leave, you need to go, like, this is not right. And so I left that relationship, had a follow-up pap smear a year later. Cancerous cells have totally resolved themselves. I 100% believe had I stayed in that relationship, I was in that relationship probably 8 months, so not super long in the scheme of things, but long enough for it to have a very negative impact on my body. And for me to see that once I got out of that relationship, it resolved. I didn't do any other major changes, eat to diet or anything. And it's like I knew that was causing that. It was very like a knowing in my body that was wrong. And it was actually my body was reacting to that relationship. So we can see when we do things in our life that aren't aligned, if we stay in that situation for sometimes like years and years, like how much this can impact our health. So something to just be very aware of. The other thing was the last job that I had before I decided to start my business. Very negative experience. I was kind of like bullied and by the office manager. I came in, I was taking over I was doing chiropractic and nutrition. I was taking over for the doctor while she was on maternity leave. I was kind of just thrown into the situation. And like I said, was really just not treated very well, was very, very uncomfortable in the whole situation. We did heart rate variability for our patients. So we would do it on ourselves sometimes just to check, because we were always going through the process as well. And I could see that my heart rate I had weird variability in it, like almost like an arrhythmia or, that I could see on the chart from being in this job. And I could even feel it in my chest. And this resolved after I left the job. Once again, after a couple months, because it felt so wrong to me. Sometimes we're in situations where it feels kind of off, and we can stay in those situations a lot longer before we start getting like red flags of maybe health implications. For me, in both of these situations, they were so unaligned that it happened really relatively quickly within a couple of months. So those are two of my experiences, which when I look back at that, I was like, yes, like my health really suffered from being in these situations that were very unaligned and intuitively I knew were not right for me. And the tricky part is for a lot of people leaving a situation that isn't right once you're in there. And I'm going to talk about that. Okay. So I'm going to give you some steps that you can use in your own life and definitely use with your clients as well when you are working around health issues and looking at the holistic picture of their life and what's going on for them and helping them transition out of situations that are not aligned for them, becoming aware of them and maybe looking at how do I get out of this situation, okay? So the first step is looking at the areas of your life. A lot of health coaching certifications talk about like the wheel of life or the different areas of your life. The big things that we often talk about is health, right? So we can be looking at our health. It can a lot of times be kind of the siren that's saying like something is off. That might be a symptom. And then we can look at the other areas of our life. Okay, what is off there? Obviously everything is connected. So there's always like something that may be really off. And then we can look at the other areas and be like, is one of these other areas causing an imbalance here, right? In this circumstance, I'm talking about health. But so the other areas, finance, career, Relationship with your significant other, I think, is kind of a separate one, because I think this is huge. It has a huge impact on someone's life. That's probably usually the most significant person in someone else's life and can have a significant impact on them and their health and wellness. Relationship with your family. So this could be, your kids or your parents, siblings, that type of thing. Community and friends, I think, is a category together. Personal growth, spirituality, and then the last one is fun, adventure, play, creativity, personal expression. So we want to be looking at all those areas. Like I said, you can kind of use health as maybe something that's like the flashing light of something being off. And then with yourself or with your clients, look at, okay, what may be off in these other areas? Is there, when I look at these different categories, where do I rate them as being good, feeling good for me, or not so good? Okay. So looking at number 2 is, am I fulfilled in this area of my life? That's a good thing you can look at, is, do I feel fulfilled in this area? Does it feel in alignment for me? I like to look at, is this enhancing me and my life experience? Or is this taking away or contracting me and my life experience? Okay, that can be a very powerful question to ask yourself. Like, especially when I think back to that relationship or that job, they were absolutely taking away from my quality of life and making me not a so good version of myself because I was so miserable. Okay. So number 3 is, you really need to shut out the noise. And by noise, I mean outside influences, so that you can listen to your own inner voice. We don't even recognize, it's hard to recognize how big society and friends and family and our communities, how big of an impact they have on our decisions and what we think we should want and what we think we should do with our life. I mean, when you start stepping back from that and looking at it, it is insane, especially like social media and seeing what everyone else is doing and all that stuff. Like, you really need to shut off the noise so that you can start listening to your own inner voice as far as what you want and what is right and aligned for you. This is something that's really powerful to do some journaling around and really like start separating, what do I really want? What is really aligned for me versus what do other people want, or what am I doing for appearance sakes because I think that other people think I should do this, or this makes me successful or happy or makes me look good in the eyes of other people. Okay. Like, really start becoming aware of that. It is very, very powerful. Number 4 is recognizing that your intuition lives in your body. Okay. It does not live in your head. Those of you who are like me, like, I am a huge person who is like, can get very stuck in my head and can be very disconnected from my body. Especially for years, I struggled with an eating disorder. Like, anyone who's struggled with things like that, you can be very disconnected from your body. And so it's something that I've really had to work on to bring myself back into my body, to feel my emotions, to feel my intuition, as opposed to trying to figure everything out in my head. So how do you know the difference between when you are using your intuition that lives in your body versus trying to figure something out in your head? So your body is feeling, and it's often like when you say, what does your gut say? Or what does your heart say, right? Versus figuring it out, or what I think I should do, what I should do is a big one. If it's a should that is in your head, it is not in your heart. Your heart wants, your heart desires, your gut desires, it feels. Your head is like the one that's like making a list of like, this one looks good for these reasons. This one looks good for these reasons. Like, that isn't using your intuition. It's using, like your head, your cognitive skills, which is fine. And we can bring them both in when we are making decisions. But ultimately, our intuition knows what is going to lead us down a path of what is most aligned and what is best for us. Okay. So starting to get aware of that. The other thing is your intuition, living in your body, asking your body. It doesn't know why that's the right answer, and it doesn't always know like how it's going to work out. And so these are things that we just have to let go of and trust. Okay. You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation, obviously, but if you're listening to your intuition and asking what to do, you aren't always going to get why it's telling you that, or how it's going to work, or how it knows that answer, right? Like you have to kind of trust it, which is a practice. Okay, so number 5, this is something that I find helpful as well. So if I had an option to make a choice about this decision right now, knowing what I know now, what would I choose? Okay? Because a lot of times we get stuck saying, I've made this choice and I have to stick with it because I made this choice once upon the time. Like that could even be a relationship, right? Like a lot of times we think, I decided I was going to be in this relationship. I got married once upon a time. I have to stay in it. Or it's bad if I don't. And obviously there's skills in knowing the difference between running away from something and not wanting to face something because it's triggering things in us versus something not being the right fit, not being in alignment. But you could look at that like, would I just choose to be in this relationship now, knowing what I know now? Or in this job, right? Like it's powerful to do that. And I think it's something that is good to ask ourselves, because you always get to choose again. You never are stuck with one choice because you chose it once upon a time, because you are now a different person. Other people are different people. Like we know different things. We know different things about what we want and what's important to us. So allow yourself to make new choices based on you and where you're at now and what you know now. Okay. Number 6, what is my biggest fear if I follow my intuition? Because this is often something that comes up and that will stop us from following our intuition. Getting out of a relationship, really big deal. There's of course going to be fallouts from this and consequences and things that happen and things you have to figure out. And so it can be scary. But I think it's important to look at this and look at what are the biggest fears and how can I handle this? How can I deal with this? Who can help me with this? Because you can also look at if 5 years from now, if I choose where will I be? 5 years from now, if I make this choice, where could I be? Right? I think that's really powerful to look at too. Obviously, if we don't make any different choices, we're going to be probably where we're at right now. Are we okay with that? What could be possible for us if we choose something different, right? Really looking at that. And then number 7 is, what is my first step to follow my intuition and move in that direction? Because if we start looking at what the whole path is, and we're like, I need to figure out what this whole path is and how I'm going to get from point A where I am now to point Z where I ultimately want to be, we can't know what that's going to look like. Often it's just step by step by step, and we take one step and then the path goes a little further ahead and we can see a little further ahead, and maybe we can see the next step. And then you can see a little further ahead and you can see the next step. But if you tell yourself, I can't go in this direction unless I know what the whole path is going to look like, then you will never move forward and you will just be stuck exactly where you are right now. Okay? So let go of needing to know what the whole path looks like. You can't know. Okay? You got to take it step by step. That's just how life works. And often it works out. So, number 8 is, the more you follow your intuition, the more it will start to speak to you, the more you will understand and get to know its voice and how it speaks to you, and recognize the guidance that it is giving to you. So it is like a muscle that we have to work out, that we have to get stronger, that we have to practice using. But the more we use it, the more we can live an intuitive life, and the perhaps smoother life can be. Not always. Sometimes our intuition maybe leads us to things where we have to learn certain lessons. But I do often think that our intuition is leading us in a way that is going to lead for a smoother life, but a lot of times we don't listen to it. Okay. So I'd love to hear from you. Does this resonate with you? Have you had experiences in your own life where your health was really affected by different areas of your life? Is this something that you are going to bring into your coaching? Can you bring this into your coaching? Can you see how powerful this is and where it really makes you stand out from other practitioners that your clients could potentially be working with? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this. And if you want to dive deeper into the steps to getting consistent clients in your coaching business in a way that feels really good, is introvert friendly, that doesn't require doing anything that's yucky or icky, I have a training I made for you. I'll link it below this video. You can check it out. And I want to thank you so much for joining me in this week's video, and I will see you next time.